Hi students, it's Miss V. This time around, instead of me doing all of the work, we're going to work together through a histogram problem, which eventually you guys will be creating your own, since that was one of our I can statements for this week, was I can create a histogram graph. So to begin, we look at our data set. This is our data set. This is one that's different that we haven't seen before. I just created it. These are made up people, but you guys understand that, and you guys will have a list of data that looks very similar to this one. You might even see some names that repeat. So when we are creating a histogram graph, first, how do we start drawing our graph? So I'm going to draw my graph right here on my graphing paper. Who can tell me what shape when we set up our graph, what lines do we usually draw on our page? You're right, it does kind of look like an L. So I'm going to do that right now. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to draw some big dark black lines just to represent our histogram. And it's okay if it's too long or too tall. It doesn't really matter as long as your graph has the data on it and is represented correctly. So then we are going to draw our ranges. So we remember that with bar charts, each of our bars only represent one number. But with histograms, our charts represent what? Can one of you guys tell me? Yeah, you're right. It does represent a range of numbers instead of just one number. It could be anywhere from 2 and more. So we're going to draw our ranges, but I want to go back and I just want to look at our data set just to see what our ranges might be. So I see that our lowest number is this one. This is our low. And then what number is our highest one? Can somebody tell me? You're right. It is this one. 10 is our highest number. So we only have a range of 7 numbers because we're going from 3 all the way up to 10. So we could do just 2 numbers per bar. So I'm going to draw some spots for my bars. So I'm going to just to make my bars even, I'm going to count 3 squares, and then I'm going to draw my line. So I have 3 squares here. 1, 2, 3. 3 squares. 3 squares. 3 squares. And I'm just going to go all the way down to the end of my graph, just because maybe I might need them, maybe I might not. So in our first range here, what numbers could we use, since I said earlier that I only want to use 2 numbers in each range? So we're going to go look at our data, and what numbers could we represent in this bar here? I do think that's a really good answer, but you know, I might actually go with the numbers 3 to 4, just because our data set isn't very wide. It's all very close together. So I might do 3 to 4, and then I would have to label my next one, which would be, you're right, 5 to 6, and then our next one, 7 to 8, and then what? What would our last one represent? You're right, 9 to 10. So do I need to use these other spaces that I've written in on my graph based off of our data that I have up here? No, I don't. I could make one more if I wanted to. So I could do 11 to 12. And then people who are reading my graph later on will know that there's going to be nobody in this column because our highest number of screens from our data set was only 10. So now I'm going to switch colors quick. I think we're going to use pink for this one. So, and you guys are totally welcome to use color when you guys make your graphs. So when I go back and I look, how many screens from our data have 3 or 4 in them? So I see 1, 2, 3. I see 3. So I'm going to make 2 boxes equal the number. I forgot to do this. And I mean, sometimes we skip steps, but as long as we get them, it's all that matters. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to use 3 small boxes, and then I'm going to draw my line. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So like we said, we had 1, 2, 3 numbers that fit in this range. So I'm going to move up how many steps? How many steps up do I need to go? I need to go up 3, you're right. So I need to go 1, 2, 3 tall. I'm going to draw my bar here, and I'm going to go down. You can color these in if you get some time, just so it's easy for people to distinguish. All right, I'm going to switch colors again, and you guys, like I said, are free to use colors on your drawings of your graphs. So, how many of my numbers for my data set are in the 5 to 6 range? Perfect. I agree with that. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 that fit in that range. So how tall do I need to draw it? I need to draw it 4 high. I know this was 3, so I know this one's going to be 4. I'm going to shade this one in just super quickly. All right, well, I'm switching colors. Find out how many tall my next one needs to be. What did you guys come up with? You're right, 7 and 8. We have 1 7, and we have 1 8, and another 7. So we have 3 tall again for this one. So I know I can line this one up. Awesome, guys. You guys are doing such a great job. We're on our last one now. So how many numbers are in our 9 to 10 range? I know I see one right here, and I see another one right here. That's only 2. So I go up 1, 2. Do we see any numbers that fit in this range from our data, 11 or 12? Do we see any in here? No, I don't see any. So I can leave this bar blank, but I put it on there to show people that this is where our data set actually ends. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna put our labels on. Number of screens in home. We'll do number of occurrences. So when I say occurrences, that means how many times it popped up in our data set. Because remember, we have numbers on this side and we also have numbers on this side. So I could write these on here. So we know that we had numbers in the 3 to 4 range and they occurred in our data 3 times. We can go back and look. We have a 4. We have 4. And where's my 3? There's my 3. We had 3 of them. So this would be my final product for my histogram graph. I feel okay with it. So now you guys are going to move on. You can feel free to pause and play this and look back at this while you're completing your assignment.